Okay, guys, today I wanted to do another video on some analysis of the Clemson game to kind of give you an idea of, to reinforce some of those themes and ideas that, I discussed yesterday. And so you can get a better idea of who Clemson is and how they play and what to expect from them as the game goes on. So, the game I decided to do was their only loss of the season, which was against the Pittsburgh team. Uh, Clemson versus Pittsburgh, which was in Clemson, in Death Valley. And some of the themes that kind of jump out at me immediately is that I really like Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator for Pittsburgh. This guy is creative, innovative, had a lot of unique formations and just a lot of shifting, and just had Clemson out of their wits. Really had them playing all over the place, and that's why they couldn't stop Pittsburgh really until their athleticism took over at certain points. But other than that, really they really had them out of sorts with their scheme. Also, Van Smith, the Clemson safety, number 23, really small guy, and that's going to be really interesting as I talk a little bit more about that in the game. Some of the stuff I saw. So he's about 5'11", maybe 6 feet, 195 pounds at safety. And Pittsburgh tight end really had a field day on him sometimes. Also, Clemson had a lack of a running game, so they ran the ball 17 times with Wayne Gallman. And I think they had 37 yards, 35 yards, something like that. Very small amount. Uh, there were they really relied on Deshaun Watson for the run, and that continued to be a theme. And remember, the Virginia Tech game, which was the ACC championship game, was a few weeks later, and the QB draw is really their bread and butter, and that's going to be interesting coming forward. Also, Deshaun Watson on out routes, he typically seems to throw behind the receiver a bit. So those are the things I saw. So I was just getting to the game, and I'll give you some examples of all the things I saw. So right at the bat, 14-minute, 55-second mark, Clemson had a busting coverage as Tankersley jumps the out route instead of keeping up the field on the coverage, and he let the guy run right by the fullback, and the fullback caught the ball right between Tankersley and safety. So undisciplined play to start off. The 13-minute, 53-second mark of the first, it was good run blocking by Pitt, and you're going to see me say that a lot. Clemson in this game got beat on the line of scrimmage quite a bit in the running game and in the passing game at times until their athleticism took over at certain points. They're disruptive. I told you that in the last video. The 13-minute, 15-second mark, the misdirection had Clemson out of their wits. They're sending their left tackle from left to right. They're sending their slot back from left to right. They sent the wide receiver from one line to the other, sent the tight end to the other side, and Clemson didn't know what to do. 12-minute, 23-second mark, Watson had a lot of time. This happened quite a bit in the game. Pittsburgh didn't really have a lot of pass rush, and it showed. And Kane beat the safety really easily, yet Watson missed him badly, and it was no chance for Kane to get the play. And I was telling you that Watson has some little trouble down the field sometimes, although he does hit him more consistently than Jalen Hurts. When he's throwing down the field and he misses him really. And what happens, the ball just, Kane had no chance to get this ball. That's just how badly he overthrew it. 12-minute, 5-second mark, Watson with good time again, and he got a good short completion out of it. So he's really good on the short passes. I told you that. 11-minute, 46-second mark, Watson threw a nicely soft. I can't even describe how good it was. It was a nice pass, but it was lofted softly down the sideline to Mike Williams, and Mike Williams caught it. It was a bit inside, so he could have thrown a little bit more to the outside shoulder, but it was an outside shoulder throw. So good play by Watson there. 11-minute, 2-second mark. Watson had excellent pass protection, and he stared down Leggett, and because of that, the safety got the pick. Leggett had released to the outside and got up the field a little bit, but the safety read the play because Javon Watson was looking to the left the whole time in the end zone, and he threw it in there, and the safety got the ball. When he had Artavius Scott right underneath that play, just to the right a little bit, it would probably been a touchdown. So a bad decision there. Artavius Scott's number 3, by the way, if you're going to go look at that play. 10-minute, 18-second mark. Peterman had so much time to wait for his receiver to get open that he just took off. Clemson really didn't have any rush right there. And that, like I said, that's a theme. They didn't get a lot. They're not speedy rushers. And it showed in this game. At the 8-minute, 42nd mark, Watson had good time. And he threw it up to Mike Williams. It was a bit underthrown because Williams had to wait for the ball just slightly, and then he jumped up to get it. He kind of came down awkwardly, but luckily he didn't get hurt. But Mike Williams really showed off his value. I can definitely see why a lot of people think he's the best receiver in the nation. The way he attacks the ball and goes up and gets it with his hands, that is something amazing to see. He'll be great addition to an NFL team if they use him the right way. 8-minute 20-second mark. The run stuffed. Clemson tried to run the ball, and this is a theme throughout this game. You're going to hear me say this a few more times. The few times that they did try to run the ball. Gallman tried to go somewhere, nowhere to run. 7-minute 49-second mark. Watson threw an accurate pass to Artavius Scott on a short out, and this is one of the few times he did this, allowing Scott to turn up the field. 6-minute 40-second mark. Misdirection and the shovel pass got Clemson again. And I said again because Pittsburgh ran this play about 10 times in this game, and just about 8 out of 10 times this play was successful, and they got gashed Clemson up the field. It was good run blocking, so they had good interior run blocking, and they also had stretched the ends out with the motion, allowing the pitch play to work its way in the middle. And Clemson just seemed like they couldn't adjust, like the defense wasn't disciplined enough to stick with who they needed to stick with. That's how you have to defend option plays. 6-minute 13-second mark. Peterman's mobility and confidence made the play. So Peterman was just rolling out to the right, and he knew that the defenders were coming. And when he finally sucked them in, threw a ball over and got it to the receiver. It was just a good play by Peterman there. And Peterman really impressed me in this game. Some of the throws he was making, I'm not sure if I've seen too many quarterbacks, especially in college, make the type of throws that he was able to make in this game with the accuracy and touch down the field. He really impressed me, and I'm thinking he's going to get a lot of maybe not, the big hype, not first round, second round, third round hype, but when he does come out, whenever that is, I don't know what year he is. Somebody's going to take a look at him and say, hey, we can develop this guy. We can maybe see if he can turn out to be a steal for us. That's just how good I think he can be. But it's just based on that game. I haven't watched a lot of Pittsburgh. The 5-minute 38-second mark, complete bust by the Clemson defenders. The call had them out of position, and it was an easy catch and run by the Pittsburgh tight end Connor. 5-minute 22-second. No, not tight end. That's a running back. Running back James Conner, who impressed me in this game too. I really like James Conner. 5-minute 22-second mark. Nowhere to run for Clemson again. 4-minute 2-second mark. Great play by Deshaun Watson and Mike Williams. Watson was calm in the pocket, and he easily stepped aside. The only guy who was bringing pressure on him, he just stepped to the left a little bit, slung the ball down the field to Mike Williams, and once again, Mike Williams jumped up and got the ball. Easy play. 3-minute 17-second mark. Would have been a touchdown, but it was called back for a penalty by Clemson. 2-minute 28-second mark. Watson was very patient. He waits for his receivers to get open, but it wouldn't have happened with a good pass rush. And this shows you how Clemson won the battle on the offensive line because the pass rush from Pitt was non-existent. 1-minute 55-second mark. The run pass option failed because Pitt played it perfectly. They really showed how you should play a run pass option, and Watson had to throw it away. The 1-minute 20-second mark on the goal line, there was no room for Gallman. He was stuffed. Once again, 40 seconds left in the first. Pitt completely pushed the Clemson line back about 3 to 5 yards. It was on a running play, and man, they pushed these boys around today. The Clemson run defense was abysmal. Second quarter, 14-minute 39-second mark. The Pitt line got pushed again. Well, they pushed again, and James Conner should have followed the line, but he ended up running to the outside and only got 1 or 2 yards when he could have had 3, 4, 5. 14-minute 2-second mark. Good pass from Peterman. It was an excellent throw. Yeah. That's what it was. It was an excellent throw, actually. But the receiver dropped it. Like, he hit the receiver right where he needed to hit him, and the receiver just dropped the ball. Like I said, touchdown field is good for this kid. 13-minute 48-second mark. The quick bubble screen or pass to Artavius Scott. And that's the first time I wrote it down. But it happened so much before this, and it's just going to keep... It keeps happening. You're going to see how many times I'll say quick bubble screen to Artavius Scott. 13-minute 21-second mark. Watson with the inaccurate throw to Renfro because it was behind him. Renfro fell back trying to catch the ball. That's just how inaccurate it was. 12-minute 13-second mark. Excellent pass protection for Watson, but the ball went over the receiver's head, and it was Deion Kane, I think, but maybe he didn't run deep enough on the post, and Watson was expecting him to get up a little bit more, and the ball just went over his head. 12-minute 7-second mark. Good pass protection for Watson, and he tried to throw it up to Deion Kane, and it was a bit high, but probably an intentionally conservative pass so that the safety wouldn't have a way to make a play on the ball. So it could be a bad pass, but it also could be a good decision by Watson. 11-minute, 13-second mark. Good protection for Watson again, but he threw an inaccurate ball. He underthrew Scott on a seam route. Artavis Scott was running the seam, and he had him. And Scott had to wait on the ball and try to catch it behind. So he had to turn around and try to catch it like this, and that led to him dropping the ball. If it was thrown accurately, possibly a touchdown. Probably a touchdown. 10-minute, 40-second mark. Watson threw an accurate throw on a bit of a, he was kind of like starting to jog toward the right, and then he saw his receiver get open, and he just slung the ball right into him. And guy caught it, and it was a really accurate throw because most quarterbacks can't throw that accurately while moving. So they have to stop and set themselves. He was able to sling that ball out. So that shows you some of his skill set and why a lot of people really like him as a quarterback. 10-minute, 13-second mark. Watson threw one of his better passes of the day. It was a fade route to Mike Williams. It was back shoulder. And so that's really good. Dak Prescott has trouble throwing this type of pass, as you may have heard me say to Dez, but Dez makes up for it. So, but Watson threw it back shoulder. And it could have been a little bit more to the sideline, but it still was a good back shoulder throw. 9-minute, 58-second mark. Play action for Pittsburgh. They picked up all the blocks, and Peterman had excellent protection. I think that he didn't get a chance to make this play, though, because the receiver dropped it, or the ball went a little bit far. But Peterman, and this is why I wrote it down, because I kept seeing plays from Peterman that impressed me. He really impressed me in this game, and specifically on that drive, because he made some throws and some plays that you just don't see from your average college quarterback. So he had excellent ball placement down the field this whole game. 9-minute, 26-second mark, Gallman showed off his skill set as he ran through some tackles. On that play, I saw him break a lot of tackles as he was running through the line of scrimmage. So good play by Gallman. 8-minute, 55-second mark, a coverage sack on Deshaun Watson. Pittsburgh played really good coverage there, probably dropped back into the zone, and Watson had nowhere to go. 8-minute, 20-second mark, reasonable protection for Watson as he extended the play, so he had good protection. Then he started to extend it a little bit, see if he can get his people going, and he flowed to the right, and then he threw across his body to the left to find Leggett with an accurate throw. And now I usually am against crossbody throws. You never want to throw those because Jake Browning did one against USC that Adoree Jackson picked off. You don't want to throw across your body. Never do it. But this play wasn't too far away, and he had the skill set to accurately sling it in there, even though he was on a run. So that he's a playmaker, and that's the type of play he makes. But sometimes his playmaking ability will get him in trouble, which is why he has thrown 17 interceptions this year. But this play is an example when it goes right, kind of like a Brett Favre-ish type deal there. So it wasn't far, but it was still risky. But it was a good play. If you want to see what I'm talking about, good play. Where was it? What did I say? 8-minute, 20-second mark of the second quarter. So still in the second quarter here. 7-minute, 25-second mark, and it's an example of great pass protection by Clemson. The 6-minute, 48-second mark, Pittsburgh sent a blitz because they weren't getting the pressure, and it affected Watson, and he threw the ball high. Said that in the Payers video against Virginia Tech, that happened too. When he gets pressure, he tends to just float the ball out there to get rid of it, which can be good decisions, or if he's still trying to make a play, it can turn into a bad play. Kane was open on the seam route that he threw, and if Kane probably should have went up with two hands because he stuck one hand up to get the ball that was going high, and it tipped it up in the air, and it led to an interception. Kane probably wanted to protect his body, didn't go up with two hands and expose himself, and that led to the interception. 6-minute, 40-second mark. James Conner absolutely leveled Van Smith of Clemson. Like I said, he's 5'11", 195. And they say that, he likes to come up and, he'll try to get into the run game, but you only so much you can do when you're that small. And so to see James Conner run over Van Smith is going to be interesting to see how Van Smith tackles or tries to tackle Bo Scarborough. 6-minute, 27-second mark. Conner again runs up the middle off good interior run blocking. The 6-minute, 11-second mark, the shovel pass, again, from this Pittsburgh option play with good interior run blocking. All this mixed direction, I said it again, is giving Clemson fits. They were moving out of the way. They didn't know which way they were going. They were following James Conner. They were trying to stick with Peterman, and they didn't. And it kind of had them going all over the place. A little bit of undisciplined play. Once again, number 23, Van Smith. This is number Van Smith. 4-minute, 55-second mark. He gets a PI for hitting the receiver before the ball gets there and not turning around. So he had good coverage, but he hit the receiver too early and didn't turn around when the ball was in there. 4-minute 49-second mark, the right side of the Pittsburgh line completely worked the Clemson defensive line, and they pancaked Wilkins, number 42 of Clemson, and they put him on his back, and James Conner had a nice run. 3-minute 18-second mark, good goal line stop by Boulware. Pittsburgh was trying to run the ball in there and get a touchdown, and they got a little push, and Boulware came in and cleaned it up, stopped the running back before he had a chance. 2-minute 30-second mark, Peterman with a beautifully thrown ball to the fullback for a touchdown. So they were on the goal line. He dropped back. He waited for his fullback to kind of run across the back, threw it in there. Fullback just had to stick his hands out and catch the ball. It was easy as that. Didn't have to jump. Didn't have to make any extra athletic play. Peterman put it right where it needed to be. And that's just the type of throws that impressed me. 2-minute 23-second mark. Watson had forever. And he found Williams wide open because he was able to wait for him to get open. And he hit him as Williams was about to go out the sideline. 2-minute 10-second mark. Good decision to get a few yards by Deshaun Watson as he just took off and got a scramble. 1-minute 51-second mark. It was completion on a little out route to Scott, but he could have thrown it better to lead him up the field. Scott had to get the ball and wait on him a little bit, which, depending on which teams you're playing, who are not going to give you the flat, because Pittsburgh gave Clemson the flat all game long. That's why he kept hitting these out routes. But if your teams are taking away these out routes, if you don't throw it accurately, they can't turn up the field. 1-minute 45-second mark. Watson had protection, and he hit Leggett in stride right before he went out of bounds. It was an excellent throw, and that probably was one of the better throws today by Watson, too, because Leggett didn't have to leave the ground, caught the ball, and just stepped out of bounds. That easy. 1-minute 16-second mark. Watson threw a beautiful fade route to Artavis Scott, and it was on the outside shoulder. And that was a better fade route than the one he threw earlier to Mike Williams. That was a good play. So go look at that play if you want to see an example of a good fade route. 1-minute 2-second mark. Peterman with a monster throw. It was a beautiful throw because he put it where only his receiver could get it, but it was still catchable. And the receiver really made the play with his one hand. He stuck out his one hand, pulled it in, and caught the ball. And Tankersley, Clemson's best defensive back, the cornerback, was in perfect position, but the wide receiver and the quarterback made a perfect play. That's an example of when your defender can do all that they can do, but there's nothing they can do to stop the pass from being completed. 0-minute 58-second mark. I'm trying to remember. Did we go into the? Oh yeah, I know where we are. But left in the second quarter. 58 seconds left in the second quarter, and the space that the Pittsburgh line made for Conner, it was amazing. They really got him some space, and they kind of pushed the Clemson defenders out of the way and was able to make some holes for him. 39 seconds left. Clemson followed that up with a nice run stuff. 32 seconds left. Bad tackling by the Clemson front. Next play was a covered sack on Peterman by Watkins. So Clemson had kind of stiffened up a little bit at that point. Now, going into the third quarter, on the first play of the third, Gallman run, not going anywhere again. So they tried to give him the ball, stuffed again. 14 minutes left in the third. Good pass protection leads to a first down on an out route to McLeod. And that was one of the better throws that he made on the out route. Like I said, the out route was open all day. That's why Deshaun Watson, how many passes did he throw in this game? Let me look this up really quickly. I think he threw at least, 70 passes? This shows you how inept their running game was. Because I just don't understand. He had 580 passing yards, so he set an ACC record. He had 50-something completions, but I want to say, and here it is, I'm looking at it now, 70 attempts. He threw the ball 70 times against Pittsburgh. That's just how bad their running game was. But they should have, except the QB draw. The QB draw was effective when they implemented it, but they didn't want to run him too often. They wanted to stop it. So they passed the ball 70 times. But that's very, very dangerous, even for the quarterback's arm. You don't want to throw the ball 70 times, especially not against Alabama. So that's going to be really interesting, but they couldn't run the ball. So that was another example. 13-minute 40-second mark, Gallman run stuff. His run was snuffed out again. 13-minute 13-second mark, Watson's pass was deflected at the 13, and that's probably due to that, like I said, that the motion where he throws the ball is a little bit short sometimes. 13-minute 7-second mark, Watson could have thrown a bit lower for McLeod. Even though McLeod caught it, or was that the one that went over his head? Wasn't sure, but I think he caught it. But he had to leave the ground a little bit. And McLeod's short, so you have to kind of put it in a place where a shorter person can get the ball. It's really hard to complete those, whether you know that or not. 12-minute 46-second mark. Number 31 of Clemson read the Pittsburgh wide receiver screen really well and made the play before the receiver could even get anywhere. 11-minute 36-second mark. The shovel pass again successful from Pitt, and they got a few more yards. 10-minute 48-second mark. A screen-like pass to Scott, that bubble screen to Scott, thrown accurately up the field. So they threw so many times behind the line of scrimmage to Scott so he can just get up the field almost like a running back. So they might as well have just called a running play if you ask me. 10-minute mark. Absolutely amazing throw by Deshaun Watson. This is, I keep saying these are the better throws, but each throw he kind of got better sometimes throwing the ball down the field. But this throw, the reason why it was so good was because of the anticipation and the touch. So he knew his receiver was going to release man-to-man wide open. So he went ahead and threw the ball before the receiver had even finished releasing. And he put enough touch on the ball to where Deion Kane was able to run right underneath it and get a touchdown off of this pass. And that was at the 10-minute mark. You got to watch it right down the left side, the right sideline for Kane. Was it the right or the left? One of them. I think it was the right sideline. 9-minute 25-second mark. The Clemson run stuff again. So the defense got much better against the run at this point. And Watkins made the play. And you're going to hear me say Watkins' name a lot as this game, as the rest of his notes go on, because he really started to come around and became more dominant. He's their most consistent defensive lineman. He's who I see making plays the most on his Clemson defensive line. So if you're looking for someone who's the most disruptive, I say it's Carlos Watkins. I keep calling him Christian Watkins. Carlos Watkins, number 94. 8-minute 45 seconds and the third. Reasonable time for Peterman, and he lofted it up in the air, and it turned out to be incomplete, but he had reasonable time, and he tried to make a play. 8-minute 20-second mark. First time the shovel pass didn't work. I honestly think that's right. I think that's the first time, all the way into the third quarter. 7-minute 35-second mark. They had good push up front by Clemson. Number 90 and Watkins as they got into the backfield and forced Peterman out of there. 7-minute 27-second mark. The Clemson defensive end rushes too far up the field, and I think it was Farrell. And he was offsides at the same time, so a little bit of undisciplined play there by being out of the play and by jumping offsides. 6-minute 40-second mark, the Clemson lineman missed the tackle at the line of scrimmage. If they had got him, the running back wouldn't have gotten 3 or 4 yards on that play. Clemson linebacker Dorian O'Daniel. The reason why I mention him because he's number 6. He's 6'1" and 205 pounds as a linebacker. Interesting. He's fast, as suspected, but his size showed on this play by James Conner was running the ball at the 5-minute 22-second mark. O'Daniel tried to put a hand on him. He grabbed onto him, but he couldn't bring it down, couldn't really stop his move. He was like a locomotive as Conner just ran him on out of bounds with him. He couldn't bring him down. So really interesting to see how we do against some of the bigger backs like Bo Scarborough. 4:40 at the third quarter. The shovel gets Clemson again for a touchdown. 4 minutes, 7. They just couldn't adjust, or they didn't adjust well enough for where the players were disciplined on the play. 4-minute 17-second mark. That's quick bubble screen-like pass to Scott again. The 3-minute 31-second mark. One of the few times Gallman had some space and got a few yards. 3-minute mark. Watson had time. He had to extend the play a little bit to kind of to stretch the zone coverage, and he finally finds Artavis Scott on the left sideline for a bigger gain. 2-minute 32-second mark. The Scott play, that's why I started calling it. They did it again, the little bubble screen. 1-minute 37-second mark, number 31 of Clemson. I finally got his name. He's the other cornerback. Wait, I said it later, somewhere down here. But he's the other cornerback, Ryan Carter. That's his name, Ryan Carter. He's only 5'9", so they have 2 very small DBs in their backfield, but he plays really good coverage too. But he played great man in coverage, and he turned back for the ball. That was at the 1-minute 37-second mark. That was a really good example of how to play the ball on that play. 14 seconds left in the third. Watson threw behind Kane on an out route. On the first play, like I said, he throws behind on an out route quite a bit. First play of the fourth quarter, Watson had great protection, but he seemed too intent on trying to scramble once he surveyed the field for a little bit. And he could have been more patient. And if he had been, he would have probably been able to get a completion somewhere, but he ended up getting sacked, I believe. 14-minute, 48-second mark of the fourth quarter. Excellent run defense by Clemson as Watkins, told you, disrupted the play and he made the play, got the running back. Run defense got better in the second half as it kind of wore on for Clemson. 12-minute, 47-second mark of the fourth. One of Watson's more accurate passes, even though it was incomplete. So what happened was that Mike Williams had got down the field. No, it wasn't Mike Williams. It was number 27. I believe his name is Fuller. And he hit 27 in stride as he was running down the field wide on the left side of the field, open, and he hit him in the hands, and he dropped it as he got hit by the safety. So they can't blame it on Deshaun Watson. Great play by Watson. And Watson was moving right when he threw that ball, so that was made it even more impressive. His ability to throw on the run is impressive. It's really good. 12-minute, 39-second mark, Watson got a covered sack because nowhere to throw. 11-minute, 30-second mark, Clemson line held up the Pitt line for the run. There's one of the few times they stopped Pitt's run. 20-minute, 8-second mark, Watson throws an out to Renfro, and it was a bit inaccurate because Renfro had to wait on it and catch it and then turn up the field. So he has to lead Renfro so he can turn up the field. You're going to hear me say that a lot because that helps you get extra yards and get you to make your plays. Probably would have had over 600 yards if he had done that a few more times throughout the game. Like I said, those out routes, he tends to throw it a little bit late. 9-minute, 44-second mark, Watson showing his accuracy again. Williams down the left sideline, and Watson drops it into the breadbasket. This is the play I'm talking about. Mike Williams just running down the field and just puts it right in there. And then Williams drops it. They tend to. Oh yeah. So yeah, both times Fuller earlier dropped the pass, and then Mike Williams this time drops the pass. Even though Watson puts it in the breadbasket, hit him right where he needs to hit him, and the ball just falls right out of his hand. 9-minute, 33-second mark, good protection again. 7-minute, 47-second mark, Watson threw the ball into the ground on a little short pass trying to get some yards, and he didn't put enough on it. Pittsburgh left the flats open, like I said, all game, and Watson just kept taking advantage. Like when he couldn't hit the ball, he'd come back to the out route and hit the flats. 7-minute, 10-second mark, Watson's throw protected Renfro from a huge hit. So usually I would say it's an inaccurate pass, but he saw the safety coming down, I believe, and he threw it low so that Renfro can go down and get the ball across the middle on a dig route. Gallman, he had 15 carries total within the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter, and Watson had already thrown like 60 passes. So no balance really for the running game here. And he ended up with like 17 carries, I believe. Maybe 18. 6 minutes left. Watson made an ill-advised decision. So a lot of people got to talking about those penalties that kind of hurt Clemson, but really the defense and this play right here, Watson made an ill-advised decision to throw the ball into the end zone to leg it. The underneath defender made the interception, but even if he hadn't, the DB on leg it would have impacted the receiver and probably made him drop the ball, or he would have got the interception anyway. So it was the bad decision overall because Watson also could have just scrambled and got a couple yards and could have kicked the field goal, and Pitt wouldn't have been able to catch up in this game. But this interception was one of the reasons why they lost. Was also their defense gave up a touchdown after this interception as well. So the penalties really been costing the game. The whole team played, but this was the bad decision by Watson because he's a playmaker. He likes to make plays. So sometimes that gets him in trouble, as I said there earlier. Sometimes Watson will attempt to do too much. So at the 5-minute 37-second mark shows why a big tight end is a potential mismatch on Van Smith. Remember I said Van Smith was like 5'11", 195. The Pittsburgh tight end was 6'6". And he used his body like basketball. So he did a little move on him, ran a little route, almost Jason Witten-like, got some separation, put himself in front of the ball so where Van Smith wasn't able to get in front of him, he jumped up to get it. It would have been a perfect play if he had caught it, but he dropped the ball. But Van Smith really couldn't do anything in that play. And he tried, though. He's a tough guy, but he really couldn't do much there. 5-minute 26-second mark, Connor would not have scored his touchdown on this play. This is the game winner, I believe. Well, it wasn't game winner because they still had to kick the field goal later on, but this made them get to 40. He would not have scored this touchdown if the defender hadn't made the tackle. But then when I went back and looked at the replay, Connor's stiff arm was just absolutely amazing. But guess who was the one who got stiff arm? 6'1", 205-pound Dorian O'Daniel. And that linebacker being small like that, I said it can cause you trouble. And he got stiff arm to the ground. Connor ran around him and ran right in for a touchdown. 5-minute, 12-second mark. It was the Scott bubble again. I told you, it keeps showing up. 3-minute, 54-second mark. Watson threw behind Mike Williams on a slant. And if he had hit him in stride, it would have been a first down. 2-minute, 42-second mark. Gallman stuffed right before the line of scrimmage. The running game not showing up again. 1-minute, 11-second mark. The pitch to Gallman to the right was stopped at the line of scrimmage. 1-minute, 2-second mark. 4th and 1. Pitch to Gallman. Why are they pitching the ball? I don't know. To the left, stopped before the line of scrimmage. And that they couldn't get that yard to secure the game and win it because they couldn't run the ball. They had to throw the ball 70 times. Lack of balance will kill you, no matter how good you're passing the ball. Same thing happened to Clemson National Championship game, 45-40. 51 seconds left. Clemson, undisciplined play, leading to the Pittsburgh field goal. Wide open receiver, no one around for Clemson. He got the ball and was able to put Pitt in better position for the game-winning 48-yard field goal. And that's my analysis of that Pittsburgh versus Clemson game. Like I said, some of the themes you notice, and some of the things that would be interesting to watch, is that sometimes Clemson plays a little undisciplined, may miss a tackle here and there. They're much better than they were last year, I believe, but I have to watch more games to see. Van Smith being a little bit undersized at 5'11", and also Ryan Carter being 5'9" at that other cornerback spot, number 31. That's going to be interesting to see how matching up against Calvin Ridley or Darius, some of those guys. O.J. Howard on Van Smith. Also, just that Watson tends to be late on his out route sometimes, but he is really good throwing on the run, but he's a bit of a playmaker, so he might try to squeeze the ball in some places where he shouldn't. So those are some of the things I saw. Like I said, I'll try to look at it a little bit more, but I'm getting closer to making my prediction video. May talk about a few of the players tomorrow as well. But thanks for paying attention. If you lasted this long, thanks. I'll see you next time.